Back in the Bus podcast coming to you with another comic book review. As always, I got my mans here with me. I ain't saying, I'm just saying, Mr. Theo Butler. Talk to the people.
What's up? What's good? What's popping? What's cracking? What's percolating? What's really good in the hood? It's your man Theo B. I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
And today we are reviewing the second installment to Bishop's War College. I swear, when I picked up the first issue of this book, I didn't hear no hoopla with nobody talking about it. We was still wrapped up in, Sins of Sinister and the X-Men books and, everything else we like to rant and rave on, everything burning over at DC. And then all of a sudden, issue 2 pops out and everybody done lost their mind. We got anti-race swappers. We got your regular run-of-the-mill, racist comic book folks who just don't want to see anything black. We got the folks who appreciated it, who saw it for what it was. We got the people who appreciated it were also pessimistic about its future, since this is a mini and it's not an ongoing. And then, I'm just sitting here looking at all of them like, where y'all been at? You know what I'm saying? We've been on this for a month. We already knew what was coming. Where have y'all been? You know what I'm saying?
You know what? And I don't even like to do it as a comedian anymore, since it's special. But I'm going to sit up here and quote the title of his special. The selective outrage.
Outrage.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you. So, and Marcus, you and I done chopped it up. We know how I feel about race swapping, gender swapping. It's no secret, right? So you would have think I would have been one of the people that had an issue with this, pun intended. But I'm sitting back, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, there's context for everything. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, myself, Mr. Ray Smith, New Warriors fans. Like, who didn't read New Warriors back in the day? Well, for a whole story arc, the main character was black. Mm-hmm. Like, we had a Captain Sphinx and everything like that. What is we talking?
So for context, right? At the end of issue 1, Bishop travels through time and space again, because that's what he does, and ends up in some other reality and wakes up to what looks like a black Cyclops and a black Jean Grey. So what this appears to be, from what we get early on in this book and throughout, is that there are not just specific characters that are black. No. All the X-Men in this universe are black. So hold on now. Let's talk about the potential of this premise and where they went wrong, at least in my opinion, right? The potential is that there are an infinite amount of universes, there are an infinite amount of realities, there are an infinite amount of timelines, right? And so if that's the premise, hell, there's an even more all-white X-Men universe. There's an all-Asian X-Men universe. There's a universe where all the X-Men are goldfish. That's what infinite means. For people to have that premise put to them, or maybe not even read the book and just react to what they see. But for those who actually read the book, be faced with that premise and then automatically reject it just because it's black people in that position is hilarious, because in their minds, it falls right within the same age-old race swap stuff. Here's where they messed up, and I'm gonna toss it to you. I'm gonna give it to you to run. Here's where they messed up. Why did the gentleman with the dreads and the Cyclops suit, why did he have to be Cyclops? Why did he have to be Scott Summers? Why couldn't he be another character? Why couldn't he be of another name? Same getup, exactly how he's doing now, how we know Scott Summers. Why couldn't his name be something else? Right? Mm-hmm. To me, now you're creating possibilities. Now it's something that I'm so interested in. Maybe this mini turns into an ongoing, because I'm going to keep paying for it and it goes on the pull list, because I want to learn about what this version of Cyclops is, right? What this version of Marvel Girl is, instead of Jean Grey. But then you kind of taint it and you let me know that it's completely temporary when you go with, that's Jean Grey. Oh, that's Scott Summers. It's tying people mentally back to the characters that they know.
I'm tell you why. So, like I said, New Warriors. We saw this, and this is what I'd be like. It'd be frustrating for me because I've read DC comics and Marvel comics where, hell, Captain Carrot and his Amazing Zoo crew. I mean, like, we can sit out here and accept an alternate universe where Peter Parker is a pig. A crossover to the 616 from time to time.
A pig, a punk rocker wearing Jordan 1s, Gwen Stacy, a real life person, Andrew Garfield, but all black X-Men? Oh man, bro, get out of here. Get out of here. In what universe?
I've even read a comic book where in an alternate universe, all the X-Men are females. Nobody has a problem. And when I say nobody has a problem, I mean the people that you would think that are fellow YouTubers that know what they're talking about would be like, okay, this is the context. So are we really sick? So this is me right here. So we know it's a whole damn multiverse. We watched this Doctor Strange. It's a universe out there where we exist as paint. Really? Okay, cool. So we can accept that. That's fine. And I bet that if we did a comic book where we was nothing but splashes of paint for 6 damn issues, we would read it. Wouldn't say nothing. If the writing was great, story made all the sense in the world, the splotches of paint acting like they supposed to, nobody would say anything. Nobody that has an issue with race swapping would say anything. Nobody that had an issue with gender swap would say anything. Nobody that had an issue with sexual identity, sexual preference would utter a damn word. We know this is a limited series. So we really thinking it's not an alternate universe out there where Scott Summers is black with locks? You know what? It's an alternate universe out there where Scott Summers is black with an afro. It's a universe out there where Scott Summers is black with braids and he gay. It's a universe out there where the person's name is Summer Scott and she's black and she's a female.
Yeah, I would have. I understand that, and I like that actually. Where I think it has potential to actually mean something. Somebody might pick it up from this point on. Maybe somebody else is able to utilize it in a book going forward. But what I would have preferred is, it's still Cyclops, it's still Marvel Girl, but this is Stephen Summers and Gina Gray. You know, like why? I would like it for them to be a little bit more defined. So now it's something to invest in, to look up. I know that these people just have Jean and Scott's stories. They're just black.
We don't know what may happen because we knew Nick Fury was over there in the Ultimate Universe. Ain't nobody really trying to make no hardcore definition between the names and stuff like that. But if these characters become, watch this, and this is why I'm not getting overly excited. If these characters become overly popular, right? Here's what Marvel will do. They'll find a way to bring them over to the 616, right? They're going to change up their identity, try and explain it some type of way, because they did this with Nick Fury.
That's my point, right? It's like what's going on in X-Men right now with the Lord team.
They're going to disappear. Because why? They're overly powered. We're going to get Monica Rambeau for a good little bit, then Monica Rambeau gonna disappear. Why? Because she's an OP black character. That makes them uncomfortable. That's why we don't see Blue Marvel like that. He's OP. The dude, look, there's no reason why the Avengers would ever lose. Blue Marvel was on the damn team. There's no reason why they're taking an L with Monica Rambeau on the damn team. But we don't want that type of shine. So it's one of the things where I would say I don't necessarily receive it as pandering, even though I know that's what it is. Bishop is a black character. You want to do something with this black character, so you throw me him. And we saw how they was patronizing in the first issue when everybody was coming to him like he was the stereotypical angry black man. So we don't know how to tell another story with Bishop, which is crazy because he comes from a whole alternate future timeline where you and I would have wanted to see his sister come back, right? Shaw. Why we can't get Shaw? Why we couldn't get his two homeboys to come back? Because we would have liked them stories, but you introduced this. Okay, it is what it is. I'm just gonna sit here and see. I know it's not gonna last. I know it's not gonna.
What you said in the beginning about them bringing them into the 616 and then redefining their identities. If you're gonna do that anyway, why not do that on the onset to create the interest? That way now I don't know who this person is. If you tell me this is Black Scott Summers, I know his parents died in the plane crash. I know he ended up in a lab with Sinister. His brother did this. Like his other brother is a maniac and tried to take over the universe. Like I know. So there's no more intrigue in that. If he's Stefan Summers, okay, what the hell happened with you? What happened to your parents? How did you get to the Xavier School for Gifted Mutants? There's intrigue in that.
Wait,
it takes it down when you just make him Black Scott Summers.
I'm with you. I feel what you're putting down. I'm just looking at it like this: is that based on who's writing? I really don't. I've tempered down my expectations. I've tempered my expectations. Let me say that. I've tempered my expectations because I'm like, you and I, out of all the comics that you and I have been reviewing, and we reviewed a few, I think X-Men stands out. X-Men Red stands out. Sword, which is basically the same series. Axe. That stands out. Avengers versus X-Men versus Eternals. That was a great series. We put down Black Panther. We put that down.
Rambo.
We're reviewing that one, and so far we're intrigued for the homage to the past that she's given us and everything, and where the story is going. But we 3 issues in, and we still trying to figure out where we're going. And that is the new writer that's taking over for Black Panther. So sad to say, outside of a few authors, I really don't have the expectations that I used to as a comic book reader.
Fair.
So that's where I'm at with it. So like I said, they're gonna give us these characters. If we generate enough interest, they might pop up in the 616, but then they're gonna change their names. To your point, they should have just did that. That's what you said made sense. Why not just, if you're gonna make them Black, make them a variation of the character. Don't make this Scott Summers.
That ain't Henry McCoy. That's Jacques McCoy.
Yeah, so because we don't really call our son Scott. You Stefan. Hey Stefan, let me holler.
You know what I mean? It's not a common Black name. So if all the X-Men Black, wouldn't they have Black names? I'm jumping.
So watch this. Now, but see, this is where, to your point, the pandering comes into play. But they don't have somebody that knows how to write Black. You didn't know how to have somebody write.
So I don't want to take it away from Holtham. Like, I think the swing is more admirable than what you typically see from a run-of-the-mill Marvel writer. Right? But I just don't think he drove it home. He wasn't swinging to make it last. He was swinging to make a splash. He wanted everybody to be like, oh, not to keep coming week for week and week and week and week. He wasn't trying to make a mark. He was just trying to be flashy.
Look,
that's my criticism.
I'm gonna help y'all out. To all the writers, if y'all want to do something like this is what me and Marcus are saying. Don't give us Steve Urkel from Family Matters and then give us Steve Urkel again. No, give us Steve Urkel and Stefan. It's the same character, but you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I like what you're saying. Go full bloom on it. Give us Stefan and have Stefan be Stefan. Man, what you doing here, cuz?
All right, so let's actually take a look and see what they're doing in this book a little bit. Bishop comes to Jean Grey and Scott Summers are trying to introduce themselves, and Bishop ain't got time for that. He grabs the blick immediately. Jean Grey tries to take control of his mind psychically, but then he's resisting it, right? Because he's been trained against psychic incursions with the best. Emma Frost, Charles Xavier, some of the best telepaths in the universe. But,
Can I ask you a question?
what's up?
Going to your point of how you said, characters, Stefan versus Scott and everything like that. I know I'm a little bit out of touch with reality, and this is the school for gifted youngsters and everything. So I wanted to defer to you being a younger brother. Scott Summers, because I know I would.
What?
With the way the blue and the yellow is customized, where it looked like he got the yellow, like he got on some yellow underwear. So is this what the brothers would be rocking if they were superheroes?
That's not the suit. That's not how it looked.
I mean, I'm just asking you, is if you was a brother in your 20s, you black, this what you wearing?
Hey, man, I think he was just happy to put the suit on, bro. I don't think they gave him creative control.
Hey, that's why I'm like, I see this. To me, I'm like, if we gonna be black, like you said, swing for the fence. If we gonna be black, it'd be like, hey man, we wouldn't wear that. We wouldn't wear it. We not wearing it. Black dude not wearing that.
So he's blocking Jean's psychic powers. Then he takes a blast from Cyclops, who doesn't, for some reason. So this was interesting to me. He shoots Bishop with the Psy Blaster. This universe has a Bishop who presumably is a mutant, right? Maybe not a combatant, obviously, but is still a mutant. He's teaching at the school for mutants. You don't know what his mutant power is? You don't know that shooting that beam at him is exactly what he needs?
I don't necessarily know if Bishop is a mutant in this universe.
That's fair. All the X-Men are black. Everything's up for grabs. Okay. So he redirects the blast back at him. Right on time, this universe's version of Hank McCoy comes in to save the day, knocks out Bishop quickly. And then now we've got, the larger X-Men team. We got Warren Worthington, we got Bobby Drake, Iceman, Jean, Beast, and Cyclops all lining up. So right before the Royal Rumble starts, one Charles Xavier, looking like Giancarlo Esposito with a bald head, slides on in there and stops everything.
You notice that too?
Yes. Oh, you know. Now you know. If you know, you know. And they send out feelers. They trying to test the waters right now. But yes, no, absolutely looks like Giancarlo Esposito with a ball cap. So he's able to pick up that this is Bishop, but not his Bishop. That maybe we need to slow this down and talk, and basically encapsulates every stereotypical superhero meetup fight that has ever happened in film, television, or comic books. Hey, who are you? I don't know who you are. Let's fight. Wait, you mean you're not an enemy? Okay, let's talk this out. That's literally every superhero fight ever.
I just like to point out one other thing, that by the time Scott Summers was wearing this uniform, Professor Xavier was in a hover chair. And the only reason why I point that out is because my dog has got the literal wheelchair on the grass, and I don't know how he doing that. I don't know if, they ain't got the same type of chain.
Telekinesis. He just put a little bit of air in between the wheels and the grass so he can just float on across. You know what I mean? That's Charles Xavier, man. Omega level. So Charles Xavier is attempting to calm down Bishop in all of this mayhem by introducing him to a friendly face, someone who will be able to relate to him. It is none other than this universe's Bishop, who seems to be a teacher instead of a combatant. We get a quick data page of this universe with Professor X and Bishop discussing what's going on. So whenever that explosion happened in our universe's Krakoa, that universe's Charles Xavier realized that there was some sort of temporal temporal disturbance. He alerts Bishop because he can tell who it is who just came into their space. And has him start making his way down to the battle or where it's about to be a battle to try to intervene. This is the part in the book where it starts to get really interesting to me, as we go back towards what's happening in the caverns of Krakoa, in the mines, with the Von Strucker twins and the rest of the War College candidates that were there with Bishop, right? And the reason why it's uninteresting to me is because I'm looking at Moira McTaggart. who is currently not involved in what's going on in X-Men comics. So, or maybe in present day with Orchis to a certain degree, the AI Moira. But right now, we're wrapped up in the Sinister event, right? So this either doesn't matter at all, like the rest of the stuff in this book, or it happened a long time ago, and this book should have came out a minute ago, and it got lost in the production line. It's like it doesn't fit because Moira is still, running schemes on Krakoa, and which is not. I mean, they're still enemies of Krakoa, but these type of one-off schemes have kind of been behind her for a little bit, especially in the the time period that we're currently in with X-Men. And then there's just nothing going on with the team in this book that's really interesting. You got Armor, you got a couple other miscellaneous X-Men. Armor is here, Aurora Charles, you got Cam Long, and Amas, and Surge. We got Tempo on the cover. Why we couldn't get no Tempo? You know what I'm saying? Why Tempo couldn't pop up? Would have spiced this part of the book up.
I don't think there's anything at stake in this comic series.
It doesn't feel like it, right?
Like
it doesn't feel like it.
I feel like you build up interest, in the black character because we still ain't seen Black Colossus yet. Like I ain't seen Black Colossus, I ain't seen Black Wolverine, I ain't seen Black Iceman, which was on the cover of the first issue. And on the cover of the first issue, God looked like that's been the dopest part, though. I do like how they've been, more imaginative than I would have given them credit for, and how they're depicting the black versions of the X-Men. So yeah, I am interested to see Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Colossus. Like, take me down the list. If you're gonna do this thing, let me see it. That's just the whole thing. Like, I don't think the story matters because we're not going to. If we're reading, let's go ahead and be fair, or at least I give my humble opinion. If it wasn't for the fact that I was reviewing the comic book, I'm probably done after issue 2, right? So then, what does that say about Bishop and Tempo? They're not going anywhere. They're members of the. I think Tempo is a member on one team, and Bishop is a member of another team.
Where is Tempo? I think where was she working? I think she was part of who was investigating the murders of the mutants.
X Factor?
X Factor, yeah. X Factor. What was she?
So
yeah. Oh no, Marauders. She's on Marauders.
She's on Marauders. Okay. Yeah. And not only is she on Marauders, but there's a lot of fan interest for the past 2 years to get her actually on the main X-Men team.
She's been in the X-Men vote for 2 years.
Right. So she ain't going anywhere. Okay, well Bishop not going nowhere. Like, he not going anywhere. You're not killing off Bishop. He would generate enough outrage if you killed him off, but there's not enough interest for you to try and even kill him off. So you're not gonna kill him off. We're not invested in the other characters, so they're not important enough for you to kill them off. And are you really gonna kill them off in Bishop War College to where you got to refer to this in one of the main titles? No.
Like, maybe Armor, maybe, but you got to do more than what you doing here for that to work. Now, they go on droning in these caves for about another 4 pages, to be honest with you. But the most interesting thing that I got in the latter half of this book was that the drug that they hit them with initially, to kind of dampen their power so they couldn't really fight back when they showed up.
Right.
It's what is Blythe's Will, I think it's called. Blythe's Will.
Blythe's Will, yeah.
Blythe's Will.
Yeah.
That it has a varying effect, and so they've been playing around with it, right? So they finally hit a combination or a cocktail that doesn't take away physical abilities, and it will the psychic abilities. It'll make them go, or no, takes away psychic abilities. It will make it doesn't do anything to physical attributes. And in teleportation attributes, it makes it erratic. And it makes it unpredictable, so basically unusable. They said that it could be used on all mutants, not excluding Krakoa. Now that's interesting. creating a sedative for the living island that all the mutants live on. That's an interesting premise, and that is something that a little note that I could see. I won't be disrespectful and say a better writer. I should say a bigger writer, someone who's given a little bit more birth with the story or whatever. Taking that note, because that's interesting. I never thought. I've always thought I've always known that Krakoa technically was a mutant because the island is alive itself, right? But doing something to try to take away its mutant powers that would adversely affect all of the inhabitants isn't really something that I thought about as a real stake. That somebody who's serious, or somebody who, it sounds like I'm putting this all on Holtham. I'm not. I'm just saying, just in general, somebody who goes at it with a little bit more of a serious tone could use down the line. I don't know what it's going to mean in this book. They'll probably try some hokey, operation that doesn't work against the island on Moira's behest. But down the line, that made that concoction. It's kind of like Forge's gun that takes away the mutant abilities. Shit, that came up in Inferno. That came up in Jonathan Hickman's last book. So maybe something like that, a small little tidbit about a cocktail that was made up by the Von Struckers and Moira, is something that could act as a sedative to the living island.
You're not wrong. I think that's got a lot of potential down the road, especially when you look at Doug Ramsey's relationship to Krakoa. You look at the home bases in New York and everything. What would happen to that if you were to do something like that to Krakoa? To me, it's almost like they're upping the ante when it comes to the X-Men, the threat level. And you're like, okay, what's going to be y'all response? Because at some point in time, y'all got to clap back. Because y'all been playing nice for a minute.
Well, that's been the biggest thing about Sins of Sinister, which this book doesn't seem to be connected to in any real way. It's been that, like, if you've been reading X-Men, if you haven't jumped off the boat by now, then this is kind of the quasi payoff to House and Powers, to Inferno, to now going into this next phase of books, going into the fall of X, which will be happening in the fall. How cute of them. So it's sort of kind of a payoff if you've been reading the books, because now we're talking about resetting a timeline that is mostly dominated by mutants, but mutants with the Sinister gene. In the most recent installment in that is the Immoral X-Men. You finally see where Rasputin, the Rasputin that you see in House of Powers with that big old sword, the one that created the Void with Zorn at the end when she was fighting the Super Sentinel, the one who came back in time, that android, the one who was helping Nimrod with Orcus and all that. They were fighting Rasputin in House of Powers. You remember that?
Right, I do.
She ends up being a creation of Sinister, right? She's a mashup of 6 different mutant abilities to make the perfect hero, I guess. So where they end up getting in the I guess I'm reviewing Sins of Sinister right now, but where they end up getting in their timeline is, now that they've dominated Earth, they know that they're going to be seeking bigger opponents, right? And so they need a quote unquote hero or a champion. And so to get that is obviously leaned on the Sinister round, who is now nothing more than a puppet in his own regime, in his own mess that he done created. They done took over. He done gave everybody the Sinister gene, and they made him a lab pet now to basically perfect Resurrection, which they've turned into an assembly line. There's some decent stuff happening in Sins of Sinister. I hate that this book is not, adding to that.
Yeah, I think that was what we were looking for. Bishop War College, I think we were looking for it to do something. Who knows? It might be where these characters are. It says Bishop War College. So maybe the characters that are here are going to play a role at the end of the Sinister run. Who knows?
Who knows?
Based on what they learned.
So issue 3 is titled Trouble in Paradise, and we got a quick glimpse of OG 90s cartoon Bishop with the Jerry curl versus the Bishop that we know now with the dreaded fade, I guess, whatever that is on top of his head.
Yeah.
But yeah. So looks like maybe we'll be hopping another universe because that's obviously not the one that we're in. They left Black X-Men universe very quickly.
Very quickly.
Any thoughts on up and coming parts of the book? Anything you're looking to see? Anything you're predicting? We already predicted the Black Swill thing.
The Black Swill thing is gonna play a factor. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Other than that, like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that we were reviewing it, I probably wouldn't pick it up like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It caught my eye just because Bishop was leading the book, and the whole, the Black Scott Summers thing. At least the illustration of it intrigued me a bit, but I don't know, man. I think it's what, a five-parter. We'll get through it. We'll see it. We'll judge it as a whole and see if our opinions change. You tell us what you're thinking about the book. If you're reading it, are you encouraged to go pick it up and see what it is? Let us know if you do. Put your comments in the prompt below. Like, share, and subscribe. Come to us every week for some more review content. Theo, appreciate you coming on with us, bro.
For sure. Appreciate it as always. Thank you, bro.